And we're live. Welcome back to the Better Than Bitcoin podcast, where I talk about the future of money. I'm your host, Jamie Dabauskas. Before I start the podcast, I want to say that I know I've been talking about getting a new camera for my YouTube channel and the podcast. The camera is already purchased. It will be in my hands by tomorrow. So, on the next episode of the podcast, you will see a significant improvement on the quality of my content. Uh, Before I move on, as you can see, I am in my dorm room right now. I just came back home from winter break, so all the content that I wanted to make in Washington, D.C. or here in College Park is now possible. Anyways, moving along. A lot has happened to Bitcoin over the past week, so let's talk about it. For a little market recap, I'm slightly bullish on Bitcoin in the next few weeks. Let me pull up a chart so people watching on YouTube can see what I'm seeing. On the 2-hour chart, the MACD is just starting a bullish cross, or actually already has started a bullish cross. As you can zoom in and see, the blue line is above the orange line. Also on the 2-hour chart, the relative strength index, or the RSI, which is down here, I can't say for sure if it's bullish or bearish because it is in the center of the range. It's near the upper part of the range, but I still can't say because that can easily downturn quite easily. So I have to say that's neutral for an indicator. On the 4-hour chart and 2-hour chart, as you can see pulled up here, is the Bollinger Bands. The Bollinger Bands right here are tightening, which can show that there's an incoming period of volatility. As you can see, it's tightening here in the 2-hour chart, and I'll pull up the 4-hour chart. You can see it kind of tapering off from this big high volatility period right here. You see it tapering off from squeezing. Pull it back to the 2-hour chart. Last time I talked about using Bollinger Bands was when I first started using them to analyze charts back in episode 9 of the podcast. For those of you that don't know what Bollinger Bands tell you, Bollinger Bands imply high volatility when the bands are widening and low volatility when the bands are tightening. As you can see, high volatility right here, where the strong uptrend, as you can see, the band is really wide compared to when the band is tightening right here. I guess some price history right here. Really wide, a big movement right here, and the bands start tightening right here, implying a little dump and a little pump for a little more volatility right there. So one of the principles of Bollinger Bands is that periods of high volatility are usually followed by periods of low volatility, and periods of low volatility are usually followed by periods of high volatility. So they essentially just flip-flop, and basically it creates a feedback loop. You can also tell if there's a period of low or high volatility by looking at the volume of the asset. In this case, you can see in the 2 and 4-hour Bitcoin chart that we're in both in periods of low volume right here, and which confirms my Bollinger Band analysis that we need to see some high volatility. So you can see right here we had some low volatility right here within low volume as it started to tighten right here, and then it just popped right back up as you see that strong movement right there. Pull up the 4-hour chart because you can also see it in any scenario. See some low volume compared to all this high volume over here as we're tapering off. Low volume right here as we start tapering off, or squeezing, not tapering. And then high volatility, high volume, blah, 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 stuff like that. So not including volume as a technical indicator, hold on a sec. So not including volume as a technical indicator, out of 3 indicators, 2 indicators are bullish and 1 indicator is neutral. So with these indicators, I can reasonably expect to see price retest the October high of 10,300 within the next few weeks. If I can guess, just to guess when it is, I'm just confident it's going to happen. I can't say for sure when it's going to happen. That's the harder part. I am rating my confidence on this analysis as a 6 out of 10. I am expecting to see price make new highs for 2020 in this month of February. So before I move on to some news, I want to point out a potential opportunity in EOS in the next coming weeks. I know I've talked about this on a previous episode of the podcast, but the new EOS-based social media platform, Voice, will be launching on Valentine's Day. So in a little bit less than 2 weeks, we could see some serious upward price movement. I'm completely expecting to see a small pump and dump on the day of the launch of the platform, basically just pumping in price to show excitement for the launch of the platform. I'm currently debating with myself to take the risk and buy some EOS with my Bitcoin and ride a little daily pump and then promptly take my money out to see some quick gains. What makes me hesitant on making this decision to do this is that it's based entirely on speculation and absolutely no analysis from me at all. There's a possibility that we may see actually no pump at all. The Voice will just launch as a platform and then nothing comes of it. But the thing is, Voice needs EOS to run. You need to buy EOS with US dollars or Bitcoin or whatever. And you can fund your Voice social media account and then you use your EOS to buy Voice tokens. I'm pretty sure that's how it works. They haven't really specifically said. They've kind of vaguely said how it works. We'll figure it out in 2 weeks anyways. Anyways, that was just something I was thinking about. Now onto some exciting news. One article that I found interesting was that the now city of Zermatt, Switzerland, now accepts tax payments in Bitcoin. This is reportedly the second location in Switzerland that you can pay your taxes with Bitcoin. How this is happening is the local government is partnering with a Bitcoin payment provider called Bitcoin Suisse. Bitcoin Suisse will take people's tax payments in Bitcoin and convert it into Swiss francs and then transfer it over to Zermatt's bank account. Now, people who want to use their Bitcoin to pay their taxes will either do it online through Bitcoin Suisse, or they can even go to a new point-of-sale tool in the town hall and pay their taxes in Bitcoin in person with their phone or something. If you don't know what a point-of-sale tool is, it's like those touchscreen computers that with usually a company like cash registers at like stores and stuff. But now I see this as a bullish indicator, since if we are truly in starting a bull run, like a big bull run, I expect to see more and more people, governments, stores, shops, and just people in general accept Bitcoin as payment, because everyone wants to accept a quickly appreciating asset as payment, and nobody wants to accept Bitcoin or anything that's quickly depreciating asset. Like when Bitcoin was in a bear market, nobody wants to accept it as payment because you're gonna sell someone a coffee for 0.0000 something Bitcoins, $5 worth in Bitcoin, and the next day it'll be $3 worth in Bitcoin if you're in a bear market. So it doesn't really make sense to accept Bitcoin when it's in a bear market. So now that more important people, even governments, are accepting Bitcoin, it's potentially a bullish indicator. Moving on, one thing I want to talk about that's actually related to the previous article is that last week, before I left to come back to this dorm, I actually did my taxes through Coinbase Pro for the year in 2019 for all my trades. I thought it was so cool that Coinbase can generate reports of my transaction history and submit my taxes for me so quickly and easily. Here's a message to anyone in the Bitcoin crypto community if you're watching this. Everyone, please do your taxes for your trading and capital gains. The way I see it is that if the US government sees everyone with crypto doing their taxes, being responsible citizens, and basically forking over a piece of their gains, then the government is more and more likely to be more lenient with Bitcoin and crypto laws. So that's all for episode 15 of the Better Than Bitcoin podcast. It was kind of a short episode, but it's Super Bowl Sunday, so I have to go party. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe. Follow me on Twitter at Jamie Dabaskis. I'll throw it up on the screen somewhere, and peace out.